Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here for this next episode of Joyful Business TV. I'm your host, Laura West, and I am a success and mindset coach. And before I introduce, we're going to have a guest today that I'm super excited about. And before I introduce her, I just want to let you know that you are in the right place. If you are a successful coach, healer, conscious entrepreneur, highly creative entrepreneur, because this is the place to come. Joyful Business TV, where you can help discover, claim, and really activate what I know is your legacy soul work, right? You're out there doing your soul work. It's your medicine, your gift to give that you're meant to share with the world to really help and transform your part of the world and to make really great money while you're doing it, right? And this whole idea of conscious business is being able to use your gifts, not only to do your soul work, but also to use your gifts in your marketing as you are out there sharing your message. And so that's part of the reason why I'm super excited today to bring you my wonderful friend and colleague, Linda Joy, because she is going to give you some ideas about how you can do that. Let me tell you a little bit about Linda, and then I'm going to open it up and we're going to have this great conversation today. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So Linda Joy, she is a best-selling publisher of Sacred Visibility. She's a Sacred Visibility, let me get that right. She's a best-selling publisher, not just author. She's a Sacred Visibility Catalyst, and she is the Creatrix. Don't you just love that word, Creatrix, of numerous media and visibility brands, including the beloved Aspire magazine. And I was just recently in her magazine. It's such an honor. She has the best women in these magazines. She features just really cool women up to really cool projects. So Linda Joy passionately believes that when women come together in collaboration, magic happens. I know that's why you're here, right? You want to find out about this. So in 2009, after her own struggles with that masculine marketing model, feeling really disconnected to her own voice, she birthed the feminine collaboration marketing model. And I know we're going to hear a little bit more about that today and what she calls the 5 feminine success principles. So using this model, she attracted her first 10,000 subscribers to Aspire magazine within 90 days. I just think that is amazing. That's amazing. And she's really dedicated using her media platform to support her clients, her partners, and elevating their visibility and connecting with their aligned audience. This is why we're like soul sisters, I think, because we have such similar beliefs for this. I'm so glad you're here, Linda. This is such a truly, it's something I've been looking forward to all week, being able to have this conversation with you. So welcome.
Thank you so much. You know, I've been following you for probably as long as you've been following me. We've been in each other's orbits. So I've always loved and admired your work. And I can't believe it took this long, because I just had you in Aspire magazine, and you're going to be on my radio show too. And I just want everyone to know she's the real deal. The moment we connected, there was this instant knowing of soul sisters, this alignment of our beliefs and values and how we want to navigate the world and how we want to change lives through our businesses. So it was like, oh my God, girl, where have you been for these
years? So, right. We felt the same way. We're like, can't get enough of each other now. It's like, oh, I'm doing this, come play over here, come collaborate here, which is so perfect for, demonstrating how you really live. Like, it's more than a business model, right? It's more than a formula or something like that. I really get that you live and breathe this in your business. So tell us a little bit about, I did the intro for what you do, but tell us in your own words, like about this feminine collaboration model and kind of how this business has come to be. So we'll get a little bit about that. And then I've got some other questions I want to ask you too.
Sure. Well, I think for everyone to know where I am now, like everyone sees me now, right? Or sees my brands actually. Aspire magazine is 17 years old now, and she's my baby. She's now a teenager. Can you
right? And get ready to go off to college.
Yes. And so for me, what everyone sees now, they go, oh, this must come easy to Linda. She has 5 media brands and a radio show in different platforms. And I want to say, darling, it was not always that way. I am self-taught. I have no education and I'm a high school dropout. Everything that I've learned, I taught myself because the way the world was doing things didn't resonate. Now, I'm using that language now, but I couldn't always use that language because that's not where I was.
Right.
But back in 2009, Aspire was a print publication. We were all through New England. I was participating in major national events because people wanted the subscription to give to their, organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to a Dark Night of the Soul for a couple of reasons. One, how I was being told that I had to market my magazine was the masculine marketing model. And I didn't know there was any other way of being.
And so tell us what you mean by that, because some people might be feeling and experiencing that, but they're not quite sure what you mean by that. Because I totally get I jumped off that ship too.
Yeah, so here's some of the things that I experienced personally. When it was time to try to call in my subscribers using that model, you're told that you have to use this kind of manipulative messaging. That was one. Mm-hmm. You had to not show up authentically because you have to use these scripts. But what happened is, as those first 3 years of the magazine was unfolding, the more I tried to fit in to the paradigm of marketing and the way it was done at that time, I began noticing by the end of 3 years that I was disconnected from my authentic voice. I was trying to be someone else.
Right. Right. Trying to use their model that worked for them. Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so I became disconnected from my authentic voice. I lost my joy and passion. That led me to birth the magazine. That should have been my number one warning sign. But I thought, well, if everyone else is doing this, then I should. So I was giving my power away, my soul power. Labor Day weekend, 2009, Dark Night of the Soul. I had the print mag, the recent edition. I had a list of all of the advertisers. I had their phone numbers, and I was about to call everyone, say I'm closing down Aspire. I had hit the financial, emotional, and spiritual brick wall.
Right.
And suddenly, sometimes when you are so laser focused, and this is true in life and in business, on what is going wrong, you block out all possibility.
Right.
So I took a temper tantrum with the divine.
Like you. I love those. I love those. Like when I'm having I have those too. Those temper tantrums is what I call them.
Oh, I used to have them quite often. And I'm like, you told me to do this magazine. I listened and I just, purged. And I heard, I receive, I hear my soul's wisdom. And it said, what would it look like if you were to keep Aspire? Now, I had been so focused on what was that I forgot that I'm about hope and possibility. Mm-hmm. All I can tell you, Laura, is 14 hours later, I never left the patio, never took a pee break. I answered that question. If I was to keep Aspire, what are some of the principles, some of the foundational pieces that I need in place? So the first part that came was the 5 feminine success principles. They were never meant to be shared, even though I've been sharing them now for 12 years. They were never meant to be shared. I never realized I was being given the foundational principles of how I would operate my business. At the time of the creation, they were my spiritual signposts. And I'm going to share them quick. It is intention. If I want to do everything with attention, no more autopilot, no more doing what other people say. Authenticity. I wanted to show up as who I was and give myself permission to continually be unfolding. Who I am now isn't who I was 17 years ago. Mm-hmm. Collaboration. There was going to be collaborative elements in everything I did, whether it was a radio show, the magazine, it didn't matter. It was important to me that it was that feminine energy. Then we had relationships. I wanted everything to be based on relationships, not numbers, not subscribers. It was about building relationships. And I think you felt that firsthand. Yeah. And absolutely. Then the other one is service. I believe in the feminine. My company motto is service before sales. So I will show up and fully serve and know that the divine already knows who's coming to me. As long as I show up and serve at the highest and best for myself and the person in front of me, even if that means referring them somewhere else, the divine takes care of the rest. So it's intention, collaboration, relationships, authenticity, and intention. And in that moment, I was lit up. I'm like, this is how I want to navigate the world. So remember, they were my spiritual guideposts. Right. So that I could reclaim myself. in that same 14
Totally
hours,
reposition, like how you would approach. I can see how using those principles, like, oh, and
energetically,
now you
you
apply
feel
it to the magazine. It's a totally different
It's a
situation.
whole different vibe. And then I decided on that day, I am leaving print. Because that same day I heard you are meant to reach tens of thousands. And when you're print, regional, you're limited by print production costs.
Right.
Now, Laura, I didn't even know what an autoresponder was. I didn't know what a website was because I never needed it. And I didn't know any of that, but I knew that was Labor Day weekend. I knew the next issue would be a digital issue, even though I didn't know what that meant.
Right. Right.
And
You
I
figured it out, right?
decided-
Because you're creative, resourceful, and whole. You're a smart woman.
Exactly. And then what I did was say, okay, if I'm going to do this with this new energy, with this new burst of creativity I had, I created what I call Team Inspiration, still called Team Inspiration. I invited women to partner with me to spread Aspire's message. And within 90 days, we had 10,000 subscribers. And I hadn't even been monitoring that. It was just one day my business manager said, oh, holy, Hay House reached out to us, major publishing houses going, where did you just come from?
Right.
We want our authors in front. And I've been honing the feminine collaborative model since 2009. And all my brands and all the entrepreneurs I've worked with over the years, they've got to experience the benefits because I bring them into this sacred container to help them attract their aligned audience. And today I've partnered with over 1,000 women entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, therapists, healers, creatives. And nothing brings me more joy than to help them elevate their visibility so their aligned audience can find them. That's the only way this world is going to change. Let the magic makers serve.
You're such a walking model of this win-win-win opportunity, that it's like when we come from generosity, holding our value, but come from this place of generosity and collaboration. It's like it elevates, like that, what is it? The water that rises all boats, it's like you're living that, invite other people to experience the visibility and being able to get their word out, and then they get more success, and then you have more success, and then the people who are benefiting from that obviously have more success. It's just very beautiful model and way that you're walking your talk in that way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It feels I feel like energetically I've been aging backwards over the last 14 years, maybe not physically, energetically. I just feel so aligned with my truth, the spiritual principles that I live by. I'm a big law of attraction, but also a lot of spiritual mindset principles.
Right.
And
well, I
noticed that.
Yes. So I noticed that I want to make that connection because I noticed when you were talking and talking about your dark night of the soul and how then you created the spiritual principles and then those became your guideposts for everything that you started creating. I felt, I'm like, the creativity just expanded, right? It expanded. And I think so often we think when we narrow things down or we leave, what other people are teaching and that, more traditional model, that it's going to somehow make us smaller. And actually, I just see where it's like it's expanded your creativity, your energy, like seem like you have this endless depth of both.
Well, it's so funny that you said that because my clients will say to me, how are you working 4 days a week, running 5 brands, take 13 weeks off a year? And I said, when you align with your voice, your truth, shut off the outside noise and birth the seed that's in your heart. And let me say something. You do have to have strategy. We have to be in the masculine. Without strategy and planning, you don't have a strong foundation. And I said to them, that's where inner alignment comes in. Like I don't ever, and I can't say this was in the past, I wasn't this way in the past. I never birth a project and go, oh my God, I wonder who's coming into it. Oh my God, I wonder if I'm going to make the income. I believe, this is just my personal belief system as a creatrix and as someone that wants to align with her soul's work, is that we're given seeds. And you said it at the beginning. We are each individually given seeds as entrepreneurs, and they're planted in our heart. And that seed may be an idea for a program, idea for a book, whatever it may be.
Right.
And what happens is the ego takes over and says, who are you to do that? Right? And then that seed gets smothered. In my case, I smothered that for many years. And now I'm dedicated to going, okay, does this feel true for me? Whatever that seed that dropped in. If the answer is yes, I birth it. The moment I birth something to the world, my job is done. The divine takes care of the rest. Who comes into every book project? We just announced our 19th book, and 23 beautiful souls stepped into it. And I never worry about the end result. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I show
well,
up.
so it makes sense. And like, I'm curious, like, how do you, first of all, how do you personally stay connected to that kind of, because it's, you know, it's so clear your connection to the spiritual and the trust that the universe has your back no matter what, right? So how
Well, I
do you,
want to go backwards. So for someone that goes, oh my God, I couldn't have Linda's energy or her mindset, etc. You're talking to someone that 35 years of a life with severe anxiety, depression, self-sabotage, financial misfit, because I lived in the fear, right? The what ifs. I lived in what ifs, and that's
what
kind
if
of what
down,
the
right?
programs. Yeah, the world kind of programs that, maybe your family did. And 31 years ago, I got on the path of spiritual and personal development because I had hit another dark night of the soul. And what I realized on a pivotal day in 1991, and I'm not going to go into that story because it's a longer story, but I had a moment where I was about to give up on life. I was a single mom to a 6-year-old, and my daughter's about to be 39. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. I still feel like I'm 39.
You look 30, they look beautiful.
Thank you.
And like, there's a glow, right? There's an energy, an energetic glow that happens.
Yeah, that's what I feel. But that day of that pivotal moment that I was in the deepest darkness of my life, I just heard a message that the truth of who you are was never touched as a child. And there was more. And the story you choose to tell yourself about your past keeps you in victimhood. Now, you would think just hearing that message come through would shock me. Want to know what spoke to my soul so deeply and changed the trajectory of my life was the sentence, the choice you're making. So basically, I remember just coming into my body. You know, here I was 5 minutes before, not sure if I want to be here on this earth anymore, to going, choice? I have a choice? What? Nobody ever told me this. And guess what happened? I grabbed a Dunkin' Donuts napkin out of the seat between the French fries and crayons.
Lots of those.
Yeah. And I started writing. I want to feel love. I want to receive love. I want to be able to trust in life. I want to be able to trust in myself. I just filled this napkin. So 15 minutes from going from dark night of the soul. Right. 15 minutes later, I put the key in the ignition. I was filled with hope and possibility, picked up my first personal development book, Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. Started my trajectory. Now, I know from learning to make decisions from that new place of hope and possibility instead of the script I had always used was a choice I had to make over and over again. Yes, because that's the thing, right? It happens in an instant, but then you have to keep doing it. So now my clients and my peers see me living my message. And if everyone follows me, you just saw that in less than 33 months, Dana got a double diagnosis, 2 brain surgeries. I collapsed and had 2 life-threatening surgeries all in the last 33 months. And women, my audience, I believe in truth and authenticity. I did a hashtag seeing the blessings post on my personal Facebook post. And it wasn't as much to keep everyone updated on that. It was to keep me grounded in blessings and gratitude in the midst of chaos, in the midst of unknown. Aren't we all going through the unknown?
Absolutely. So those circumstances, like life still happens around you. Right? It's really, how do you choose to co-create with it? So you've gone through some extraordinary things in the last couple of years. Yeah, but I only saw the blessings. Every single experience brought us more blessings. Now, you asked, what are some of the mindset tools? For me, it's being very intentional with my energy. So that's one. Like, I'm conscious of everything that I listen to, especially in the last few years. Everyone that I connect with, it's like I want this connection. But more than that, every time, because I'm human, just like all of us, no matter how long I have been doing this, stuff comes up. What ifs come up, especially when I'm stretching out of my comfort zone for new projects, which I'm about to do. Right. The what ifs come up.
Now, I know from years of practicing this that that's not my truth. But the little girl inside is saying, you sure you want to do this?
Yeah,
So
I'm
I always
scared. Oh my gosh, run, hide.
run. I just put my hand on my heart and I go, Linda, is this the truth of who you are? Now, when you ask that question, this is what I've discovered, and anyone that wants to try it. When you ask and you put your hand on your heart and you ask yourself, Linda, is this the truth of who you are? You are bypassing your ego mind. Your soul will answer that question. There's only one answer to that question. No, this is not the truth of who I am, because your ego is not answering, your heart is. This is not the truth of who I am. Then what's the decision I would make?
Yes.
That's it. So it's constantly coming back.
And doing that over and
have,
over again, right?
Over and over. So listen, with Dana's diagnosis, it was a pituitary brain tumor. And then 4 days later, they found a large brain aneurysm, completely separate things, 2 different brain surgeries. You don't think I couldn't go into what ifs, right? And I'm not saying I didn't. I had my moments, but I am so grateful I had my tools. And then one other thing that I live my life by is what you focus on is what you're gonna get. And we all know that. We can all say those words.
We can all quote it, say it, right? But living it.
Yes. And so one of my biggest things is I choose to focus on the blessings instead of the bullshit. Right? Because there will always be blessings to find, and there's always going to be bullshit. What are you going to focus your energy on? And it's the same whether that's life or business.
Right.
So I choose, like, so I have friends that will.
It's like you're like, we're like so tracking that every time I'm like, oh, I'm going to ask her that question, and just like bring that right up. It's like we're so in tune. That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, it's I call it recalibration. So I share a lot of recalibration tools with my clients, from abundance to mindset to inner peace. Because the truth of who we are is inner peace. The truth of who we are is divine abundance, right? It's only when we come out of alignment with our sacred truth, our own energy, is when we kind of get pulled into self-doubt, into keeping ourselves small. In fact, I'll give you an example. Sacred Visibility Catalyst. That was birthed from my own Dark Night of the Soul, 55th birthday. On a beach doing my annual October ritual. I go to my favorite Cape Cod beach for 30 years. Whether it's rain, snow, I've been there in blizzards. It's like,
right.
I do my journaling exercise. And what I heard, the first part of the ritual is give gratitude for the year you just had, like the birth year.
Yes.
Second part is dive into the shadows. See what you haven't been facing. And so as I was doing that, I was about 45 minutes in, and I heard, you've been hiding. And I took a temper tantrum with the divine again. I'm like, what do you mean I've been hiding? I'm the face of 5 brands. I've got a large following. I'm out there. And I heard, and it resonated and brought tears to my eyes. And maybe this will resonate for other entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter what the outside world sees. It's what your soul knows to be true, and you've been hiding. I was hiding various aspects of myself, right? Because I had got kind of comfortable. My brands grew beautifully. I loved the time off, but I was being invited to not different teachings, to bring out the teachings I had always done with my clients in a more public way. But of course, fear comes up. So sacred visibility, that phrase came to me. I said, I'm going to step into sacred visibility no matter how afraid I am. I've been teaching that to challenge myself. 30 days later, I announced the first Sacred Visibility live event, held it 9 months later, and women flew in from all over the world. It was my commitment to honoring what I received.
Right.
I didn't have any idea how it would go. I just said, okay, I'm doing this. If I'm going to help others with their visibility wounds, I got to step through mine. I got to do the deep inner work.
Yes.
And
that's such a big part of what we do, is being able to like really take our own medicine and go and look at what it is that's what we're passionate about, is also our own medicine that we need to look at, you know?
Yeah, because even the work I'm doing now, like everyone, all the messages from all my brands are, dedicated to women on the path of self-discovery, right? So whether it's radio content, book content, the magazine content, everything is to inspire all women to live from the inside out, to reconnect with their authentic self. You'll never see do 10 leg lifts in Aspire magazine, right? It's always
right.
from the inside out. And about a decade ago, a bunch of coaches reached out to me going, how are you doing this? How are you growing 5 brands? You never seem like you're marketing. It always seems so easy for you. Teach us. I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I can't teach you this.
Right.
I don't have the education. Some of those clients are still with me a decade later. And now all the work I do is with women entrepreneurs, coaches, therapists, etc. And they come into my group program called Illuminate Sister Mind. And along with getting mindset and marketing coaching with me and privately, as well as it come together in a group, they
Right.
get a 1-year visibility package in front of all my brands.
Mm.
So while we work on that,
Everything is so integrated. That's what I just love. It's so
Yeah.
impressive how it's like it all comes back to your core, and who you are. And then it comes out into all, the next iterations. And I love how you have the rituals and, your daily, your annual birthday retreat. I love that. And so I'm curious about, like, what are some of your favorite rituals on a daily basis? Like, what do you do? Because I know that's something that this idea of like our audience members, they know this, but like living it and then bringing it into your business is a whole nother idea, right? Because so many other people are not talking about business in this way. So I'm curious, what do you do like for your daily rituals to keep aligning
So you
your
mean my
energy and
daily,
opening up?
my own daily,
Like your own daily rituals
to stay aligned?
Stay aligned. Yes.
I'll share one of them because sometimes it morphs, but this one I just happened to put in Aspire Magazine's email newsletter last week. And I started it maybe 25 years ago. And it doesn't take long. You can do it in your pajamas.
Mhm.
But a lot of us, what was happening and what I was noticing in myself, even before cell phones were around way back, right, is I would hit the ground running. I would get out of bed, I'd be in my head, not in my body. And I'd hit the ground running, like hitting that task list and never being present in my own life. And I was seeing that. I was feeling it, actually. I was feeling it. So the first one is I start every day in gratitude before I even get out of bed. And it doesn't take long. And I don't mean repeating, without feeling or emotion. Thank you for this comfortable bed. Thank you for the sun coming through. I'm talking about in the time that you're focusing on gratitude, you are dropping in and feeling the gratitude.
Yes.
And I spend maybe 3 to 5 minutes doing that. I usually I started saying you have to name at least 5 things. You won't drop into the energy of what it feels like to have that thing in your life, whether it's your partner, the cozy bed.
That is such a key, right? To actually feel it, not just make the list, but let yourself feel it so you're getting vibrational alignment, right?
Yes. And what happens is when I get up, I am already vibrating at that which I want to attract, right? It also brings me back into my body and into the essence of who I am, because I am not my to-do list, but we're trained to chase, go after, and I was one of them. I'm a recovering control freak and a recovering perfectionist. And for me, that's key. And then the other part is I also like to follow that with just a little bit of envisioning. So for me, and I know you teach about scripting, so I do something similar. We just use different words. So I go in those few moments and I envision exactly how that day is going to unfold. Like I knew exactly how this conversation was going to unfold, how I was going to energetically show up. I energetically map out my day. Do you feel the difference?
Yes.
I don't sit there going, okay, and then you're going to go to the grocery store and then you're going to do this. No, how do I want to feel today?
Not just the timeline of everything, of getting it, how much can you squeeze into the day? But it is, to me, it is like, who are you going to be? Like, be that woman,
and you have to start your day in that energy, right? Envision the day as you wish it to unfold. I always say for the highest and best for everyone involved. So, divine guide me, allow me to speak my truth, serve for the highest and best for all involved. Not the highest and best for me, it's for anyone I'm in the circle with. And then I like how I start my day. Come on, can you feel the energy already before I even leave the bed?
Yes.
And then I believe, and it changed my life, is ending my day in the same practice by giving thanks. So a lot of times we say we're grateful and we'll say, well, we do our affirmations, but I know for me, the missing key of my gratitude practice was saying thank you to someone, right? Thank you to whatever your source is. Doesn't matter what the name is. Giving thanks to something bigger than you. So the gratitude practice in the morning is dropping into the feeling. The gratitude practice that evening is like going through your day going, oh, thank you for this beautiful conversation I had with Laura today. Thank you, divine. Thank you, God. Thank you, source. Thank you, universe. Because then that's an energetic exchange with your source, right? Yes. And we all know that that gets magnetized.
What a great way to go to bed, right? To go to sleep.
It's a beautiful energy. And in my business, I have the same rituals. Like when I have a new project, and I'm looking at it right now, I create a circle, whatever, on a piece of paper, because I'm very visual.
Right.
So let's say it's the book project. We just announced the call for authors and just closed that for life shifts. At the beginning of the project, I drew a circle that represents the energetic container I'm creating for that project. I do this for every issue of Aspire, for everything that I do. And then I filled it with little hearts. And at the top, and it says, I call in divinely aligned authors into the sacred project with ease and grace. I've set my intention. I had my conversation with the divine and say, I can't wait to see who you send.
Who's going to show up.
And then
this is why we're meant to be together, right? Because I do the same thing, but I draw a heart for every project. It's my heart map. And it's like my project heart map. And it's the same thing. Like, all right, who am I calling into this program? Who am I calling into support? What is it? What is the energy I want, to be sharing with this project? Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, and you know what? The reason I believe that's so important in business is it keeps us out of our head. If you have a connection with source, whatever that may be, it is so beautiful to be able to go, hey, ego, I'm done. I've given this over, so let me do my magic, just create, serve, and the divine will take care of the rest. So I say the divine, my support team, we all have one, is the best sales force in the world. I don't have to sell. I just have to be, hold my own vibration, show up in service, show up with integrity, of course, show up with love. And those that are meant for me will find me. Those who are meant for me will feel this. And that is so much different than the model I used in my other business that led to me burning out 20 years ago in my retail. Oh my gosh. Business.
Yeah, this is so amazing. You're so walking and talking and being and exuding what we talk about at Joyful Business too. So that's so wonderful. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Well, I love our connection. I love what you're doing in the world. We have so much aligned, not only as entrepreneurs, but also as women in our spiritual paths and our unfolding. Like I just turned 60 in October, and
congratulations.
Oh yeah, baby. And one of the things I'm like, I'm just beginning. Yes. Like some winding down. Like I love spaciousness in my life. I do take a lot of time off. That's important to me and how I'm wired. But I am just starting. There's so many women that I want to serve. So I can.
You've got so much more to give and create and yes, in the world. So
we need that. We need to show up, each of us, with our gifts, because if we don't and we allow fear and ego and self-doubt to take over, then there will be a whole segment of the world that will never be served because you were the one meant to serve them. And I believe that with all my heart. And I tell my clients that, like, you were given this vision for a reason. You have to bring it forward.
I believe that too. It's like you have medicine that a certain part of the world needs. And it's like, who are you to withhold that? It's like you want to make sure that you give that so they can have the transformation and you can create the ripple effect you're meant to have there. So, well, I do want to make sure that I give you opportunity because I know people are going to be just really enamored with what they're hearing from you. What is the best place? What can they do next to be able to kind of get into your community or hear more from you?
I think the best thing for all the women entrepreneurs, sorry guys, as much as I love you, this event is for women. If you're a coach, creative, therapist, and you want to step into the feminine collaborative model, this is the time, because for almost a decade now, I've been hosting and producing the Inspired Living Giveaway, resources for mastering the art of living. I partner with anywhere from 50 to 75, it depends every season. Women entrepreneurs, we come together to share our magic, share our lead magic, share our gifts in the feminine collaborative model. It's $97 when you join at the early bird rate. The doors are open right now for our June event. You can go to linda-joy.com/inspired-giveaway. I'm sorry, inspired-living-giveaway. So let me repeat that, linda-joy.com/inspired-living-giveaway. And reserve
We'll put that in the
spot.
show notes to make sure that everybody gets that, makes that
Yes,
clear too.
and imagine coming together, whether you have 50 on your list or 5,000, because we have people that have every list size. When we step into that circle together, you get in front of an audience of everyone's. We have women that have come back 7, 8, and 9 seasons because of the results they got. And what I love about it, it's about an aligned audience, not numbers. You want to call in those you were meant to work with, and that's what my model does.
The right people. And so I just want to be clear with this. If you're hearing this, this is an opportunity for you to participate as a business owner and to be able to share your gift with all the thousands of people that Linda is so amazing at creating, calling to her community. And so we'll put that in the show notes so that people can check that out on the link. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for holding space for us to get together.
Yes, I'm so glad to be able to introduce you to the Joyful Business community. All right.
Thank you, my friend.
We're going to wrap up for today. I just want to thank everyone for being here today and giving me the opportunity to introduce somebody really amazing to you. And I think she will change your life if you start checking out her resources. All right. I hope to see you all next week on next week's Joyful Business TV. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for watching this episode of Joyful Business TV. I want to invite you to get more creative strategies and support for growing your business. You can start right now by activating your abundance mindset with a really powerful creative visualization that will help you get into the universal abundance current, one of my favorite things to do. And you'll also get a companion 7-day journal that will help you create a daily habit of co-creating with the universe. These are 2 powerful resources that you can get started right now to help grow your business and activate that abundant mindset. You just go over to activateabundancegift.com.